And we find ourselves in the beautiful city of Xi'an to kick things off here for game number 2. WE and Suning. It was a spicy matchup when you look from the outside in, but after game 1, we got a good taste of the Suning super team.
Oh yeah, just winning in every single lane, being on point with the communication. We can see the Flash Wolves core, they're still working very well together in both Maple and Sword Art.
Sword Art is an absolute king. Did not die once again. On the thresh, landed every hook. And Clement, I hear you're a big fan of Sword Art and actually want a bit of input from people.
Yeah, exactly. We're setting up another face-to-face season starting next week, and we want your questions for Sword Art. I'm going to be sitting down with him. We're going to be talking about his adjustments coming over to the LPL. How does he mesh well with the SMLZ squad? And how does he do with Maple? It was actually a really spicy one because he said he wasn't traded together to Maple. He said he came alone, which was interesting.
And he's just like, hey, I remember you. Actually,
you look familiar.
But for Suning, they're shaping up to be a super team, so why wouldn't you want to answer or get some questions answered by Sword Art? The support picks up Thresh, the mid lane picks up Galio again, and Maple did have a pretty decent game, which is no surprise because, boop, he's the MVP.
85% kill participation. He was shadowing any attempt from W to actually come back in the game. There was 2 times where he catch a multi-man taunt to shut Magic back down, make sure that the comeback could never happen. And that's just Galio when he's ahead. It's so impressive to play against.
I mean, at 30% damage as well, it's a very impressive stat, especially when your team is that far ahead. And I was looking at Sword Up, but even Maple, the 2 LMS superstars, they've made their name so far in LPL, and it's been 2 weeks. So I'm really excited to see what the rest of the split looks like.
I miss my Flash Wolf. I actually kind of do.
Well,
but I'm happy to also see them doing so well here. For me, on the flip side, I want to see a secondary carry out from WE. They cannot just put everything on Mystic and say, hey, here's the early game, please make it work. I don't think they have the pieces yet to really go with a strategy like that. If you want to play early game, you must have, I would say, a skill lead over your opponent team.
I thought you were going to say they must have skill.
They have skill. They have skill. You really need like a positional advantage over your enemy team to really go for an early game strategy. That's why IG is so dominant, because just pound for pound, you feel like their players are simply better. But I don't think that's the case for WE, so they need to split their focus and go probably a bit later.
If you play that same lane matchup as IG versus Suning, you see a winning lane with the Lucian Brom, as you should with the Lucian Brom. Versus Thresh and Kai'Sa, you probably go, well, this lane will be fun for us, you know? Suning even looked towards the top side of the map, but there was no interest whatsoever once that lane found itself ahead. Hacker got 2 kills early on, and from there, Suning skyrocketed forward. So into game number 2, there are some change-ups, Clement. You want it. You know, we really need to see it. Ezreal, you mentioned in the break, would be more ideal for this WA. I
feel like Ezreal is one of those picks that it's strong early, it can carry you late game with the correct item build, and it's also very error prone. You can shift away from things, it's harder to shut you down completely, you're going to have a safe time even if you're behind in lane. So that's why I like the pick for WE. Wei Xiao's their coach, he's going to be calling for the Ezreal. That's my opinion. And also, on top of that, from the Ezreal, you could also open up Xia to pick something like the Zoe. The pole composition is one of our highest win percentage composition that we've seen so far. It's very easy to play. I don't think you need that much coordination to actually play the poke composition correctly. So I think the Ezreal pick really does open up a lot of avenues.
Even coming back to Xia, maybe even the Galio as well, which has been a Xia special in the past. Remember, into 2018, we said, okay, WA is going to be as successful as in 2017, when 957 was running around with Kled, when it just looked so great. It looked like the dream for WE. But no, 2018 was not the greatest year. We don't want to see it again for 2019. They're not running 957 in the top lane. I don't think Post was the problem, though, there. So,
no. Post was completely left alone in lane, and he did come over from the KR scene, which is the Challenger series for the LCK, on Reverse Gaming, actually a teammate of, I believe it was Mala, as well, over there in Korea, and he does have this portfolio of being a carry-oriented top laner, so maybe that's one of their positions that they can try and go for, but the bottom line is, I don't really think that you can put it all on Mystic and Missing's lane. They really haven't shown that potential to carry themselves and acquire early game leads pretty much ever. So you do have to split your focus a little bit, try to go with a couple other lanes. And we were talking about at the top of the show, Xie was really, really good on a lot of these hyper late game carries in the mid lane. Azir was, Ryze, Kassadin even.
Yeah.
Those were champions that he had a 70+% win rate on, and I would like to see him on those again.
Especially in Game 2, you need to throw a spanner into the works, especially into maybe the top side of the map. Now, Vladimir was great, but if we're going to play that scaling game, it needs to be the rest of the map. Let's just shift gears for a second, Clement.
Okay.
Let's just put posts on something that rivals the Renekton, or something that is going to play those laning trades. If you ban away Urgot, you force Xiao Ao on something a little bit different, like this Renekton. Take a matchup. Forget the Vladimir.
Okay, that I don't think that's going to happen because that would require WE to select the red side themselves, which I think is really difficult to do in the meta. Like, the blue side is still by far the more dominant side selection. 58% currently still in the win in the win column.
Can't argue with stats, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be hard. I like the idea of actually selecting the Urgot themselves. At least the Urgot's going to be a safe lane. You can't really punish an Urgot lane. And maybe get a couple carries in the other lanes. I suspect that will be the main avenue of the draft going forward. But so far, WE not really I'm going to pick the red side myself team.
Yeah, because they need to firm things up in the second game, and whatever side they are on in the end. For WE, if this is a loss, and Suning come back onto the stage in Xi'an, then I have serious questions for 2019 for them as well. It won't be the perfect start. Yes, it'll only be 2 series. And yes, it is against Suning, the super team. But if they do not look competitive against this team, then our story is out of the window. And WE, they could have a real struggle in this upcoming year.
You don't want to be the last team in the LPL to not have any wins. That's just so much pressure on the entire squad of the coaches, the players as well. That's just not a good look for you. And I feel like the loss to Sino Dragons really, really hurt, because that was one of those teams where, as WE, you're expected to pick up wins. And we only have one round robin in the current format right now. So after that matchup was played, there's no way to catch up to anyone.
Sino Dragon are pitted as the 16th team as well.
Yeah.
That's what I've said, that's what you've said. I think Raz even agreed with that, and Niberia too. So if you take a loss to Sino Dragon, your confidence just drops all the way down. It's great they brought in Xie. Confidence from him has been a strong point in the past, if I might add.
Mr. Big Shot.
And for Xie, now it's time to step up. Yes, Daddy Mystic, you know, there's maturity that comes with parenthood. But it doesn't mean that he has to shoulder the burden, as you said before.
I love how the directors keeps on tagging the same guy.
The exact
same guy on
well.
the middle of the screen. You know, he was doing a yawn with a mix of a head scratch at the same time. I really like that expression.
Clement, I've only just noticed it, but you've been paying a lot of attention to this battle.
The director's showing him for a reason, so I was.
You're like, oh, is this a player? Or is this is this our 17th team? Well, is it cleaning out the mouse? And that's annoying. If anyone at home has had this before, if you get dirt in this particular part of your mouse, I think it's at the base where you can open up, and usually there's like a metal weight. There's usually a weight that holds the mouse down. If you get dirt just between like the surface, it can actually ruin your mouse. Fun fact. I'll bring a mouse in one day to the LPL to explain what I'm talking about, but some smart cleaning duty going on there.
Yeah, I hope he performs much better after cleaning out his mouse right there for Mystic. Really hasn't had a great game so far. Picks that he was really well known for in 2018, Caitlyn, keep on mentioning that, 80% win rate, highest win rate for a single for Caitlyn in the LPL overall.
Yeah. Clement, the Caitlyn coming out, that's a big ask.
I know.
But I'm going to ask you another question moving into game number 2, picks and bans, whether WE have it in them to turn this one back around now. WE red side again.
That's interesting. They actually selected the red side themselves. So usually what the red side means is that you're going to either have a counter pick, in one of the solo lanes, either mid or the top position. And like you were talking about, it could just be Pose finally getting to show off some of his carry potential.
Well, Suning actually had side select there as well, Clement. So they picked blue side in the second game.
So they had side selection both games? Oh, it was W had side selection game 1. All right. My bad.
Hey, it's okay. You're with us. That's all that matters. So with Suning picking blue side there, and you can see exactly why. Enables that Urgot first pick for Xiao Al. WE have to respond. They're willing to take the Lucian into the bottom lane again, but this time the Gragas as the flex between Missing and Magic.
Yep, and the Gragas, I think mainly for Magic overall. There's a couple interesting plays that we could see being go on with this. Xia, I don't think is actually a Yasuo player, so that's probably not a combination that they are looking for.
Not yet, Clement.
Not yet.
Everyone becomes a Yasuo player in this meta.
Have you seen the cinematic? You can...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can take down 500 people.
Man,
with just
that actually came out while we were on LPL the other day. The first thing we did was watch it, and that was absolutely sick.
It's very stock standard composition coming in from Suning, just strong lanes across the board. And with the Thresh going down, I feel like once again they have the option to play a very aggressive bot lane alongside WE. And they also have 2 extra bans this time to take away strong supports as well.
But look, it's a rinse and repeat, but swapped over, realistically. Maple this time takes a Lissandra, but GA does not have the Galio to force this matchup once again. Banned out by WE, they now look towards the jungle. Take a step back though, because you see the Silent. And remember, GA can actually flex that, so it doesn't have to go to the top side of the map.
Silent would be a decent matchup into the, into the Lissandra. I really like the Cassidy ban. I think Suning understand the mentality coming out from WE. Like, we already see one of your solo lanes is going to be a straight tank. You need another carry. How about let's just take away whatever you've been super successful on.
So with that thought in mind, Clement, Cassidy, what's next? What are the GA specials do you take next?
Okay, the next one would actually be a Zir, but I think that's a little bit far outside the meta. A little bit far. Well, I do like taking away the Vladimir. Vladimir is another one of those GA picks as well. Super late scaling. Can 1v5 a team fight?
But in 9.1, picks become more viable with additions of turret plating, with additions of bounties. Even falling behind on some of these outlandish picks, as you call it, still becomes okay. So GA has options on the board, but WE's only option right now is to lock in that Morgana, which will be a missing special. So pairing the Lucian up with something a little different.
So what we're lacking from Suning right now is just a little bit more damage. They have a great initiation, great potential to kind of flank you from different angles. They just need something that can follow up, really dish it out on the enemy team. They're still looking for a jungler this time around. Olaf would be a great pick right here as a slowdown as well. Early game, massive amounts of damage. I believe Hacker did take an MVP on that champion as well. And another follow-up pick, potentially coming in from the Sivir. I'm not sure about the Sivir, though, because that's a very, very bad matchup into the Lucian. We've actually seen Vici's Puff dealing tons of damage back onto the Suning 2v2 and winning that lane straight out. So I'm not sure that they're going to be confident enough to actually lock in the Sivir.
Oh, wow.
But they are.
That's a bit of disrespect.
Oh.
You're saying your bottom lane's fine anyway. And sure, why not? After game 1, let's do it. We're left with what WE are going to do.
Oh, here we go.
LeBlanc. Oh, thank.
I like that. I like that. I like the LeBlanc. It's one of those champions that is actually pretty much immune to the Olaf in the early to mid game. That's going to be super important in this matchup. And also it has straight up carry potential. If Suning ever make the mistake that like they did in game 1 where Xia was able to catch them out, you know, LeBlanc is going to be a pick that's going to be very, very effective against Sivir.
Remember, there are a couple of good LeBlancs here in China. Now, the first one that stands out, you talk about Rookie. I would talk about GA as well, especially on his Assassins. You know, you add a couple other players into the mix. Maple, of course, now that he's in the LPL, you would highlight his LeBlanc, which we actually saw the other day. But for Suning the Super Team, a very different draft. And WE, they put their hands into the fire. Will it get burnt again? You've got a Morgana in the bottom lane. You've walked away from the Brom, and you've added LeBlanc. Now, granted, Posu had probably the best game out of anyone from WE in game 1. He's on the Sire, so he's playing initiation duty, and WE playing the fight.
And once again, W are looking to make things happen in the bot side of the map. Strong picks across the board. The Morgana is going to keep the wave pushed in. No hooks are going to be able to land from Sword Art this time around with the Black Shield onto Mystic. He's going to find a way. I'm sure he's going to find a way, but it's going to be much harder. It's going to be much, much harder. And WE, like we were talking about, they put up a second carry option in Xie, his most played champion overall in the LeBlanc.
But is it enough? Clement, WE after game 1 have turned me into a skeptic.
I like it. I like it. I feel like the Sivir is a bit disrespectful. If you're going up against Gragas, LeBlanc, and Lucian, that's not easy to survive. There's going to be a lot of deaths coming in on SMLZ and not enough follow-up damage. I'm
looking for SMLZ to style again. There is an opportunity to show this Sivir will work, and this is the game to do it. Game 2 for WE to make their triumph.
Here we go.
Wow, I don't know if the microphone's actually closer to Suning, or if Suning just have a louder chant at WE's home arena.
Oh, I believe they did have a louder chant, but I feel like the crowd was kind of mixed up. So the way the chants are supposed to work is blue side goes first, but since it's the WE drums, I felt like a lot of people probably cheered on the wrong beat.
You stop talking as soon as those drums play. You're like, well, you know what? We're blue side, we're going to take the drums. Why not? I think for Suning, they have grown their fans in the past couple of weeks. You've heard us say it over and over again. It's Suning the super team. Names like SMLZ and Sorta, who are now about to have a brief introduction to Missing and Mystic.
It's been a duo since the later part of 2018 after Zero and Ben eventually left the roster. We did see Missing pick a lot of Morgana. It's actually his most played in 2018, so it's very comfortable on this champion.
Absolutely.
I will say that W had a much better level 1. Suning, even though with the level 1 invade, they did not get any deep vision, while W are definitely aware of the jungle pathing coming out from FLICKR. Saw him at the Raptors already.
That vision in the jungle side is going to be a bit of a scuffle towards that bottom scuttle. But Magic can't get there in time. Now, Olaf 1v1 is dangerous, but what about the 2v2? Down on the bottom side, Ignite down onto Sorta. This is the issue with Lucian and Morgana. Mystic gets first blood. Magic now stuck between FLICKR. Maple's passive's not going to do anything but watch the rundown. It's a 3 versus 2. Great binding from Missing, stops everything. And FLICKR going to run away with the trade.
Yeah, that was a really good binding coming out from Missing, like you were talking about, to actually keep the trade even for WE. They even actually get the first blood as well. So, you know, overall, I would say it's a sigh of relief for Mystic, but I'm really worried about the fact if they can continue to push up in this lane. I think that's the big problem we have to look for in that trade that just happened. Olaf is going to be very far ahead once more, and Magic with a pre-level 3 death, that's very detrimental to your clear.
And especially on a Predator jungle, after doing that bottom side clear, you'll know the Korean standard route is you back, you get early boots with the Predator passive, and that's the pressure that can be applied. Scuttle already secured, but we'll take a look at this gank once again.
Yep, so each side are already in position. W actually have the inner track on the trade there, so Sword Art is forced to go in early, and he doesn't land the hook. That's the real big difference maker there.
To be fair though, Clement, that is the first time we've seen Sword Art miss a death sentence. But there's a first for everything. WE's bottom lane now have first blood. SMLZ threw the spanner of disrespect. And that spanner, you know, it's not like, can you dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. It's a spanner, ladies and gentlemen. It hurts.
Great analogy there. Great analogy.
Well, welcome to Australia, though. Where nothing makes sense.
I know. I love Aussies. I love Aussies.
Do you? Are you saying that because they're rusty, or are you saying that because of the country?
Of the country, I would say.
Okay, alright, well.
I'm an honest person.
Well, hopefully Rusty doesn't hear that one. For WE's bottom lane, the next thing they're going to be listening out for is that Predator Olaf. Remember, symbol above the head when that Predator gets procced.
It's really comfortable lane position coming in from Mystic, at least. He did get lucky on the wave.
We pushed up against him. Hacker's down in the bottom lane. Bottom side of the map, rather. Bottom lane's a bit far away. Will be spotted out by a ward. There's a great ward by WE. Dropped down by GA, by the looks of it.
And they do spot out Hacker like you were talking about, so potential collapse incoming.
Hacker.
Missing, holding onto the binding.
Uses Sword Art to come back up. Now Missing might have to back away. Binding misses. Hacker picks up the undertow, ready to throw again. Spot out by another ward, but Maple's going to take this one in onto GA. Ooh. There's the chain that goes wide. Forces out the clone. Maple in the 1v1, that would just look too easy.
Yeah, that was great footwork coming out from Maple. Predicts the chains coming out, walks toward the bottom side, and then clips him with another Q to force the passive as well. So she is not going to have that the next time Hacker does come around. Of course, it is a relatively short cooldown, but still a window of opportunity the Hacker could look to use.
And even after a poor trade there, Clement, GA with his warding and with the rest of WE can spot out Hacker. This is great vision control towards the bottom side after what was a conflict of the 1v1 junglers.
They're not going to let what happened in game 1 happen again. They were trying to push up super hard, punish the matchup with the Lucian. But Hacker found a better path into the bot lane. So we see W putting so much focus into just keeping this lane in a winning position.
WE getting the jungler in at Magic. I think there was a ward dropped down by Hacker, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not, the cooldown's a bit too long. But pings are going out towards that blue side. Look at where Maple is, walking towards that jungle.
Gonna try and disrupt the blue handoff. Now, they actually know where the jungle and the mid laner from WE are, so it's a clear 4v2 potential in the bot side. W are smart enough to back off as well.
Yeah, Mystic and Missing all the way back up that lane, but now able to push forward. Lane gank in the works here from Magic. Smarter early micro and kind of macro moves here from WE. With that bottom lane being the focus once again, and WE having priority, it's a very different story. Xiaoao does have Fear Beyond Death in this top lane.
And this is going to draw Magic towards the top side. He has to go there. Xiaoao almost able to finish him off, just using the free Ignite for some extra damage. We see this quite often from Unsealed Spellbook users. And Hacker's going to try to make it party.
Red buff's going to disappear from Magic. He knows it's in the brush. Ward drop first, just for safety measures. It's Hacker who gets that information across again, but playing with the information's a very different story. Hacker knows the red buff has moved away, but Xiaoao's got lane priority here once again. And if Post comes into this fight, there's a chance he doesn't make it out alive.
Frankly, I don't think this is a 3v3 that W really want to take. There's a very good amount of CC, very easy to focus down enemy champions on Suning's side. And also, Pose is just has to take a very long route, already chunked down quite a bit.
Xiaoao can't stop the back. There we go. It's Thomas.
And this is going to look like another Herald play shaping up on Suning's side. They are losing a bit of tower health on the bottom, but the amount of advantages they have in top already, I feel like is close to being unsurmountable. The CS lead from Xiaoao is really stacking up. He's going to go up against a Sign with no ultimate, so I don't expect that lane to be pushing out anytime soon. And really, after the buff clears, I just think it's going to be a straight play for Herald.
Well, before that Herald, though, you got to look at the items that are picked up in hand. Glacial Shroud for Post, so although he doesn't have that ultimate, at least he'll be able to withstand Xiaoao and SMLZ if he moves up to the fray. Especially Hacker at this point. That one kill hasn't made a difference, though. No Predator ganks. Great for Magic, but Magic's also got Predator here. So both junglers feel inactive at the moment, still playing around the vision, still deep wards that are spotting out both junglers. And now all they can do is just pick up Scuttle and try and enact that vision a bit more.
W really need a 4v2 play to happen in the bot side to actually close out the deal and really ship the advantage that they have with Lucian. But I feel like there's a couple of factors that are stopping them from going straight in onto that play. Once again, teleport advantage in the top side for Xiaoao. They can't go too deep or they will get punished very, very hard.
Oh, this is the spaghetti fight we've been waiting for.
It's a one-sided spaghetti fight, though.
No, it's a bit of a fettuccine one then. Mystic, this is not good. See you later. Can't take SMLZ down with him. A second kill for Hacker again.
Oof. Such a rough going. Ultimate's instantly blown.
Alright. Down on the bottom side. That's the dragon being taken down. Missing says howdy. But he's not going to go anywhere near it. That's a Mountain Drake to start things off. Next one. It's Infernal again.
Oh boy.
Oh, what a fire-spitting game.
And, you know, this is why Ezreal is important. I don't think you die to this type of play. I want to see how Sword Art gets the hook. Oh, boy. Oh, that's just sick. That's nasty. He gets it without even having to use a flash. I was kind of wondering right there, is like, wait a minute. How did he actually, you know, get Mystic to just give up on life and not even use his flash in that situation? He didn't even use his flash either, and I was just kind of bewildered by how that play happened.
You know what Sword Art was doing? The first 2 hooks that we saw on camera, he missed them on purpose.
Oh.
And Mystic and Missing got comfortable in the lane, Clement. And then that third one, which looks impossible to hit, is just that Martyr hook that you just go, ah, you nasty.
He just caught him by his coattails, dragged him back to death, and he can do that again very, very easily. No flashes expended for that gank at all. That's a clear repeat gank.
And it's gonna really shape up this bottom lane again. Now SMLZ, this Sivir pick, hasn't been going so great, being 15 CS behind, but BF Sword, Vampiric Scepter, Bloodthirst is going to be that first item. And as soon as that comes up, this lane gets a little bit more tolerable, even with Blade of the Ruined King from Mystic.
This is absolutely A-okay for Suning's bottom lane. We could see SMLZ, even when he was constantly getting pushed in, he always had at least 1 potion on hand. He wasn't really threatened at all. The question is, what can WE do to actually get their members involved in the game? So far, not a lot of action. Xia having another very, very quiet game. And honestly, the LeBlanc pick is something that will need a little bit of help to start leaving lane against Lissandra with Aftershock.
Maple's actually moved more than GA so far on this LeBlanc. That one play, just moving around the map, getting some of the deeper vision, and enabling Hacker to move across this jungle. Suning, it might not be any more than an 800 gold lead, but they're back in the enemy buff. First it was red, now it's blue again. They can drop these control wards, and anyone who wants to take them down is probably going to trade off their life or lose the fight.
Yep, but we see Suning not willing to get cut off
for now
from the right side, so are going to back off. There still is a lot of burst damage potential incoming from the Magic and Xia combination.
Yep.
But with a double AP comp like that, once Lissandra gets to a certain degree of MR, you can see she already has the Mercury Treads. It's going to be so hard to actually lock her down. So I feel like Xia is at a point where he can't really do anything in lane anymore. He has to find some kills on the bot side, but at the same time, he's not even allowed to leave his lane. So it has to be Magic somehow coming into this lane and at least pushing it out for him so they can really get some action.
Magic just avoiding vision at the moment, though.
I wouldn't say avoiding.
Well, what does that look like? Just locked down again. Maple sitting in the top side of the lane. No, he's not. Who even knows what English is? But you know what? At the moment, though, keep your eyes on Hacker. He started Rift Herald again. This feels like a rinse and repeat.
He's not willing to let up on that.
Not again.
To over smite.
Magic can't steal this one, though. Now WE on protective duty. 3 versus 1. There it is. Fear beyond death, but the Black Shield saves the day. GA's out for now, but they want blood onto Missing, who flashes immediately, respecting the damage output. And Suning will walk right back, take Rift Herald, on the hunt from SMLZ. Sword Art underneath turret, takes it up.
Outplay?
The 1v2, Mystic ignited down the turret, now onto SMLZ. Sword Art lives again, and SMLZ does too, but here comes Missing.
Can he actually tag him with the W? At least stop his back. I think that should be definitely possible.
There's no vision in, Dark Bind, ding! Woo, doggy. This is a spicy matchup in the bottom side. SMLZ does get away just in time, though.
W, we're looking at a member's advantage in the top side around that Herald position. Missing already coming in and saving Xia, at least with the Black Shield, but they still don't get anything out of it. Only the turret plating to kind of console them. I feel like that's just going to be a down turret in the mid lane for Xia.
That's ambitious, though. That's very ambitious. Turret plating will drop down, so there's gold that goes over to Mystic, but we'll revisit what this turret dive really was.
It's a good dodge away from Mystic. Stands around, avoids the box completely, making sure that there's no follow-up skill shots from Sword Art. And he does outplay the situation.
I guess we're not going to look at the kill that eventually came through.
What kill?
Why not? Sorry, not kill.
Oh.
The runaway. Thank you for pulling me up on that, Clement. Hook again. Almost finds it. Ooh. This is a 2v1 that's not going well. Here's a teleport out of nowhere.
This is slow.
Onto the back SMLZ. The damage down, but here comes Predator Gragas. Magic into the fray. 5 members down in the bottom lane. WE making a move.
How many can they get away with? That's a big question
Sword Art
right
still
here.
alive. Death Sentence saving the day to a degree. Post on from FLICKR, but where's the damage output again? Xiao eventually finishes the TP, but it's a fight on multiple fronts. Hacker's over the wall. Mystic getting chased down by Xiao. The Urgot willing to dive onto the Lucian. It's an easy one at that, but on the side, Maple mid lane. Hacker is gone right into the fray. Knocked down again. Hacker finds another one. That's not real GA. Xiao knows this now, and they'll just turn for the dragon.
And it was a straight up 3 for 4 in that situation. Suning still come out ahead. They drop the Herald in the mid lane, get Mid Tower and Infernal Drake.
Oh my lord. Xiao misses that Fear Beyond Death by just a little bit. With Infernal getting picked up off the back of that fight, Clement.
SMLZ just wasted way too much time earlier in that fight. That was a quick go in, snipe someone out, and try the back off situation from WE. But SMLZ, with the footsies, is able to survive and go to the entire team for W to get underneath the tower. I think that was a big difference maker there in that play.
It's the most dangerous game of footsies I have ever seen, Clement.
So many members going into SMLZ. We call him Smiles, but he actually never laughs. No emotion, cold-hearted assassin.
Continually trying to pressure Mystic, put him under an uncomfortable situation. Suning's bottom lane have the push in again, with Maple at the rear, with Hacker behind him. This turret, this is not staying. WE have magic here. Missing, almost gets chunked out before it starts. Turret down, Golden. Ultimate popped out, but locked down again. It's Maple with the kill on a missing this time, and it's Suning with another turret.
Just too much chase down potential coming in from this side, and they're also having push in all 3 lanes at the same time. W cannot rotate in tandem with this team. Oh,
Maple just walks away now for the engage back in. SMLZ cleans up. Maple didn't even have flash.
Can we have a highlight of all the Suning footwork that they've displayed this game? That was so sick. He walks in blind to a brush, dodges out hook shots, and then just flat out styles on magic.
This is just WE's input being neglected and rejected. WE have had so many good moments in this game, but Suning just come out ahead 9 out of 10 times.
What do you even do in that situation? You had the perfect drop on the guy, and he still is able to outplay just with walking sideways.
Xiao just gets stopped from his back. Just backing anyway, doesn't care. There's no damage there, it doesn't matter. Every single lane is struggling. Even though GA has 2 kills, there's a massive bounty on Maple. There's global gold for the side of Suning. This bottom lane turret will even that a bit more for WE. But against a Sivir and a Thresh, you're still not smiling. Even though SMLZ isn't either.
It's still just a 3K lead coming in from Suning, so definitely a position that W can fight back from. And like you were saying, with the LeBlanc, we've seen Chia do this again and again, just be that super hyper carry. They're going to show us the play once more. 4v2 coming in from Suning's side.
Dodges the binding first.
I feel like Missing should have backed off instantly. The stasis was not enough to save him, and just watch, there's no vision there. There's a control ward. How does Maple actually outplay the 3-man coming in from Mystic?
Weird glacial path. Doesn't get binded.
That's 4 skill shots dodged.
What?
4 skill shots dodged.
Maple didn't really go up, down. He just walked in and walked out. It was like, oh, okay, that was easy.
How is that even possible though? Like, I just feel really bad for WE because that was a blind brush. Maple was putting his face into it, and he still walks out while dodging 4 skill shots.
And now he's ready to engage again. Suning, it just looks too good. Top lane's dropping as well. This massive push. They do not have the Baron buff, but they've managed to edge out to 6k. Now for Suning, Baron's up in 50 seconds.
Can I say something? That was a pretty bad chain coming in from W. It was great from Maple, but definitely the right way to start a chain like that would have been for the hard CC coming in from Magic to land first. That's definitely what should have happened right there. But, oh, just rough to watch for WE fans out there. Great footwork coming in again from Maple.
What more can you do but highlight the Suning super team again? Top side of the map, strength is there. Sword Art takes his first 2 deaths of this series. WE pushing into the enemy jungle. Is this the fight they want? Sword Art over with the Glacial Path. That is the negative. pushing them away. Decimating smash down onto Hacker.
I don't really think Suning want to be walking through all of these choke points.
But they're still going to try to take the fight out in the open river. They move as a 5-man cohesive unit. GA left by himself. Magic as well. But away he goes. Death Sentence is a little bit too slow. Baron up now with this mid-wave pushed. The threat becomes even worse. GA has to be careful. Glacial Path gets taken now by Maple.
2 tags of the shards going on to Xie, forcing him quite low already. And he actually has no corrupting potions to go in anymore, so this should be a very straight take for Suning.
Interesting spell shield from SMLZ, but fair enough.
Give me the mana.
Well, Suning want this Mountain Drake though. There is going to be a contest from WE. And they can actually take this fight. Post has Hysterics Gauge, launching in, unstoppable onslaught. SMLZ doesn't have his spell shield. Sword Art trying to protect his AD carry, but in the front line, again, it's Zhao Al with Hacker. Fear Beyond Death goes on Domestic. The backside Urgot is just doing too much work. SMLZ and Sword Art survive the other onslaught in the front, and it's Post who's left alone. WE trying so hard to recover this series, but Suning won't let them.
That was definitely a fight where I felt like Xie went in and the rest of the team should have backed off, because Mystic and Missing tried to get something back in return for the Drake. They walked up, but you can't walk into an Olaf and an Urgot.
Yeah.
I just felt like that was, I would say that was more coordination on WE's side. They could have just walked away happy with another kill onto Xie. I felt like that was the best situation that they could have had.
And now Missing, the only one left near this Baron, gets started up. Suning are low though, but with the TP, that is Maple.
Magic is still so far away from the situation. It's going to have to come from Xie. Mr. Big Play, can he actually do it?
The jungler, but it's stopped around. What a death sentence there. GA can't do anything at all. Maple stopped from chasing Missing, but Baron secured with another pick off the back.
Oh, that was the moment that we were all waiting for. The Baron steal to keep WE alive. The dreams and hopes riding on that one objective. But it was not to be.
Colonel saw red and thought, you know what? That's my KFC color right there. And then he's like, hang on, I'm meant to be stats driven. The change-ups from the early game. WE actually got their foot in the door this game.
You know, the Colonel might like his venues red, but he definitely enjoys his team's blue. 86% for Suning right there.
Yeah, the stat has outgrown itself in this series. And 22 minutes in, WE behind. Let's do some quick maths. 7,000 gold. I got there in the end. Just trying to get their own buffs. It's a bit difficult at the moment. Suning push up again. Blue buff over, but it's to GA who is doing stuff to sort up.
Good chunk of damage down.
Look at what the cost is again. With this Baron buff, Hina turrets no longer exist. Mid lane could be next on the menu. Bottom lane inhibitor.
The problem for WE right now is that they can't actually win the fight, even if they manage to snipe out SMLZ. Hacker's a little bit too fed in this position, already rocking the 5-0 and 5 stat line. I doubt SMLZ is even doing the majority of the damage in these fights. I think it's going to go down to Shala and Hacker, who are the ones that are dealing most of the damage and also happen to be the ones that are the tankiest.
And Zhao Al can't die, so they try and hit Hacker first, but never mind. Predator back on in. Fear Beyond Death has been used, but Zhao Al can't execute on it. No, it hasn't just yet. Mind my word, the flash in from Maple. There it finally is. Down. Zhao Al doesn't need to flash into the enemy team. The Scion's down, and no one else is tanky enough. Post, even dead, can't take down Hacker.
I like what W tried to do there. They knew the front line was the real issue, so they went straight in for the fight. But once again, Sword Art, in almost the exact same position that they denied Ming last time around, is able to save Hacker from the clutches of death and keep his team alive.
GA can take the 1v1, but it's no longer the case with Suning. Everyone nearby, GA baits out the clone. And of course you do. You're the LeBlanc, you're 3-1-0. You want to threaten the enemy team, but LeBlanc has big potential. Right now, you need a 6-item Kai'Sa to deal with Suning Gaming.
Just so difficult for W to actually land any of the kills. The CC immunity coming in from Hacker, Sword Art in the back line, and Urgot has the Gargoyle Stone Plate for this fight now as well. I really don't. I'm not sure who they want to focus at this point. All of the targets look incredibly difficult to go down onto, and I really like Swordart's positioning in all of these fights. You know, he's staying in the backlight at the right times. He's going into the front when need be to make sure he zones out the rest of the members from W at the same time. Just really good team fight positioning overall.
Well, for Swordart, did it start out well, Clement? I think the answer was a slight no.
No.
But it's ended out decently. And you can see it with Suning, once they get the ball rolling, it doesn't stop. Almost like a TOP of the young IG. It's been said over on social media. For Suning, like a young RNG? No. What would you call him, Clement? Impart your wisdom on me.
For me, Suning is
a good team.
They're a very good team for sure, but they're a team that currently is playing stock standard in the meta. Almost nothing is being forced out of them. And they have 3 lanes that can carry.
Alright.
And FLICKR is apparently using his stasis just to show off.
At the moment, they don't care, Clement. It's just gotten to this point where WE need all 5 members on one to get that pick. And GA at the forefront of it. Minions pouring into the bottom side. Baron has expired, but that's not going to stop Suning. Culling onto Maple. Damage not enough at this point. And Suning with this next wave on the hunt has been procced, and WE need to get out of there.
Shallow going straight in onto Mystic.
Flashes in, doesn't get the flip up, but onto Missing now with the ultimate. Hasn't got a chance to go golden until it's too late. SMLZ jumps in first. WE getting destroyed. GA may get the pick, but Joel can't get Mystic in time with the chem drill, but he'll clean it up all the same. GA back to base. The lockdown of the dead Sion. Suning do lose too, but they still get an inhibitor, and even with a trade, it's not good enough for WE.
Magic going in with the alley-oop to save the game. If that play didn't happen right there, I feel like Suning would have taken it right then and right there, but able to at least get the knockback and take down SMLZ from behind. So that was a really hero play coming out from our young jungler in Magic.
Well, can Magic find any more though, Clement? Optimism now needed for the side of WE is another mountain.
Do you believe in Magic? I know it's an old one,
not yet.
But it's so good.
Not yet, Clement. I don't, because there's another Infernal, so hold on to your boots.
Okay, okay.
It continues on, just like this play.
Really heads-up play from Mystic, dodges out on everything. FLICKR goes in deep. Good play from Magic right there to keep Xiaoao in position. Stops him there, but watch Magic. Gets SMLZ straight into the face of Mystic and Xie, where it can be taken down easily. And without the AD carry or Maple's Lissandra, they are able to hold on.
So the pick off from Magic. SMLZ drops down a second time. But Baron's up again. Now WE don't look like they can contest this. Chances are they won't even go near this Baron and just give it away to Suning, hoping for another play, but they come out of base. It's maybe a must-contest Baron.
Yes, it definitely is. It's one where they're preying on a Hail Mary coming in from Magic. Greg is always a champion that can deal a ton of damage with his burst. He has an AP build as well. And also, he's not that far behind from the Smite. Level 13 versus level 14. That's one of those things where you can steal Lucky Baron away. Magic has to try here.
And with explosive caster damage, will fix that level gap as well. Swordart launches in, and Magic with the Black Shield now not available. Xiao at the forefront, Redemption comes down, teleport as well, but Baron is secured. Now for the fight, Magic caught out first, Fear Beyond Death, that'll hit 2, and that's not good as Xiao is tanky enough to live through the damage put out by Mystic. He'll flash forward, but now has to deal with FLICKR. Xie on the backside, can't get the opening pick.
Mystic 1v4.
Can't kill Maple. Mystic on Lucian, on the FLICKR, so close. Xie back in as well, but the Flay, God tier from Swordart. SMLZ just pierces another kill. A triple for the AD carry, and Suning about to finish a 2-0.
22-8, 30 kills this game. W definitely brought the tempo, but with a lot of their own bodies to pad the stats this time around. And Suning, they just play that engage so well. We were waiting for Magic to happen. We were waiting for Magic, but I really have to say that was probably not the best body slam. Goes into Xiaoel and gives him a straight fear to block everyone off.
Do you believe in Magic was the question, Clement? I do not. And after that series, WE go back to the drawing board to discover what happened. Game 2, a vast improvement on what we saw in that very questionable Game 1. But in Game 2 as well, Suning showed some of their weaknesses. But honestly,
a little bit, just a little bit.
When I say a little bit, I mean an absolute little bit. Just leave the keyboard, shake the hand. There we go.
I feel bad for Pose right there. No, Sword Art's like, hey, we need to walk this corner.
What we can take away from this game is that Pose did show signs of life.
Yes.
Which has been very important, which has almost been the theme of the LPL for this year. Those signs of life of either newer players or, you know, not usually the starting roster, people who've been on the side as substitutes. A good chance for Pose to show his strength, and I think he did exactly that.
Did okay on the lane. We do see that W overall is still playing him as the weaker side of the map, not really throwing him a lot of jungle attention, deciding to put most of their eggs into the Mystic Basket.
There you go. You
into
got
the bottom
there.
side. Still not working out early game. I feel like that's the biggest takeaway from this series so far, is that even though WE, they know they have to have an early game advantage. That's how the meta is played currently, and they want that lane to be the bottom lane. That's clearly what we see from WE picking up 2 Lucian games, but they don't seem like they have the personnel to make it happen yet.
And when you go up against Suning as well, you kind of learn that that early game is going to be so much harder if you cannot adapt.
Yeah.
That's what we saw again in Game 1, Game 2. That adaptation that came through made a big difference for WE. Even the damage charts there, it's like Red's just like, man, don't touch me, please.
They were pretty close on Mystic versus SMLZ there, and I feel like this is a draft that WE can't come out ahead if they're not going up against the top teams in the LPL.
Yeah.
IG, TOP, Suning is probably not a winning strategy, but you're talking about teams from 10th place and behind. I feel like this is an early game that they can situate themselves into.
And you're right, against Suning, against TOP, the top teams in the LPL, because that's what Suning are right now. They're undefeated in series, have dropped 1 game, I believe, out of all their series combined. Yeah, to Vici, ladies and gentlemen. So that kind of throws some spanners in the works again. I obviously like spanners today, obviously missing my garage back home, but if a team like Vici can force them to a Game 3, you then start going, right, where does WE sit after seeing their 2 series?
So far, WE has not secured a single victory yet. They're sitting at 0-4, the only team in the LPL to not find a win in 2019.
Technically 0-2 for series.
Yes, yes. But I feel like they're starting to move in the right directions. They're starting to get a hold of the meta. I feel like if they played this draft against Sino Dragons, they would have came out ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's definitely something that they can do. They're still picking up kills, a lot of outplays happening all over the place. And if you're talking about maybe things that they want to shore up, I would really like to see them put Magic into like a hyperbolic chamber, really grow him up a little bit. There's a lot of questionable plays for him. I feel like in the jungle position is kind of why they're not able to push the early game advantage that heavily. We've seen in the Sino Dragons game, even when their mid and bot lane were doing very, very well, they still weren't able to go over the edge. So I feel like Wei Xiao and the coaching staff, they need to focus on that position, just build him up a little bit, build him up with the knowledge on how to play with winning lanes, and I think they can come back.
Maybe it's a question of the start of the split actually seeing players like 957, because with the experienced rosters, having the intuition on how to play the lanes is a lot better. You put rookies into these positions and maybe you just don't get the same results. Jie coming back in, I think, was a big firm difference. He was definitely a threat in Game 2, but top side of the map, there was hope for Post. I talked about, I did hype him up, and I think that's true. But until WE get a firm grasp on the meta and how to play out this game, maybe we would just bring 957 back in.
Yeah, I think his leadership at least would be a big boon for the team.
That's the leadership, yeah.
On the other hand, I feel like Suning, this team from Suning, we really haven't even scratched the surface of what they can do.
Yeah.
Basically, Maple has been playing the same champions over and over again. We saw one extra champion from a Sword Art in the Thresh, and all of the rest of the lanes are just stock standard.
But when Sword Art picks out a new champion, he plays it a lot. You see it like that series over and over. And the Thresh they just didn't see as a priority.
No one has been able to force Suning to change their game plan. And I feel like that's very, very dangerous currently. They've been able to focus down onto the bottom side of the map.
Except for Vici Game 1. They forced them to move their style into Game 2. They did.
They did, but did they actually change their style? They didn't change their style in Game 2. They just didn't die in the bot lane. That's all.
Right.
So,
all right.
triple carries on a team. We were talking about this. All 3 teams in the LPL that have a flawless match series record so far have been teams that are running with 3 carries that they can switch to on any side of the map. Like we were talking about, all of the last picks coming out from Suning are different every single game, which is really frightening. How do you even draft against that? This is a team that just has so much gas in the tank, and we haven't even scratched past the surface.
Because if you force someone like Sword Art to move to a different champion, he still looks good. He'll pick up the Thresh. I guarantee Leona will come out at one point.
Rakan is the big one I'm looking for.
And Rakan, yeah, of course. Rakan with the playmaking support. SMLZ as well, big champion pool, and that guy, he's actually played one of the most, he actually has the widest champion pool of the LPL so far. You put him up there with...
he had the largest champion pool in 2018 either. You know, Karthus, you're talking about Misfortune.
Oh, man.
Just all different things. He started playing the Victor pretty early on as well. So this guy just has a bag of tricks, and it's really rare that you see the AD carry actually being selected past the second ban phase right now, because the viable AD carries, Lucian, Xayah, Ezreal, that's pretty much it.
Or you move on to something like the Sivir. With Suning, that champion pool extends, no doubt. Even in the jungle for FLICKR, who is actually our MVP of this game, unless it was Xiao, in which case, no, it was FLICKR. I was thinking, like,
Oh, that's just rude.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, 4,000 extra gold over on Magic at the end of the game, 7-0 and 10. I want to see if he actually held 19.1% damage share. That's a lot for a jungler, but still not topping the charts right there. This guy's Olaf is just menacing to go at.
And he deserves this as well, because for FLICKR, it was a pretty rough start to the split. We were saying the weakness of Suning actually looked to be FLICKR, which when Maple and Sword Art coming in, and you've got new shining lights there, you've got old superstars in Xiao in the top lane, you don't want your jungler to be the core weakness, so good to firm up.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like FLICKR is someone in 2018 who actually had the highest percent of jungle map control. He took down a lot of camps, and he used to do it with Knight in the spring split. So Maple being on that roster, I want to see this 2-man game develop a little bit more. I feel like that's one portion of this Suning team that we haven't really seen, but we know is coming down the line.
Because those weaknesses are shoring up. They are small. And for Suning, it doesn't really exist at the moment. Like, Suning are still the super team.
The only lane I feel like you can pick on is probably the bot lane. But with Sword Art playing that well, it's kind of iffy as well.
I don't know, even with SMLZ, with that wide champion pool. Very big question. However, before we go into our next series, which is over in Beijing, FPX and JD, a bit of a longer break there, but when we return this series, there's going to be hype.